Where Angels Fear to Tread. It's not my favorite music. I'm not really a fan of this type of music.
Where Angels Fear to Tread.
Grotesque horror kind of vibe works really well.
Lots of gory scars.
Freaking creepy video.
Howdy everybody, my name is Grant Varner and I'm the lead singer of Rain. I could smell it. And I am the lead singer of Cult Affections out of Houston. Howdy everybody, my name is Grant Varner and I am the lead singer of the band Cult Affections out of Houston, Texas. And I'm also the creative director of our new music video, Where Angels Fear to Tread.
Beautiful, okay.
So Angels was one of the very first songs that we did all the way back in high school. And I think initially it was called something like Angels with Clipped Wings or something along those lines. So it's definitely it's an oldie for sure. The story is unfortunately based off of a real situation within our family. I had a very close cousin who went through some pretty taxing and strenuous health difficulties when we were kids, and it eventually fucked up her liver and kidneys. It got really bad to the point where the doctors pretty much told my aunt and uncle that this is the end of the line, not much else we can do. But because of my aunt's perseverance, literally at the very last minute, a donor came forward, and unfortunately it was a little girl who was a victim of a very bad car accident. And so the story and the idea of Where Angels Fear to Tread come from the last words of that little girl who became my cousin's donor. As she was dying, she said, "Mom, do you see the angels?" And then she passed away. As sad as that was, it gave my cousin a very long and fruitful 25 years where she became very influential and very active in the deaf and the LGBT community here in Houston until she eventually succumbed to a very sudden onslaught of leukemia. I've always believed that music videos in general have such a great opportunity to tell a very meaningful story and convey a very meaningful message. It's just incredibly irked me. All these bands with good music, you know, wasting videos on just like house parties, getting drunk for the gazillionth time, getting over some breakup, randomly sprinkle in some two chicks making out with each other for the views. Instead of doing something unique, or at least attempting to, it's just really depressing, to be honest. So we wanted to go in a different route with that. I wanted to take it very dark because child death, whether people want to be vocal about it or not, is an extremely prevalent thing that nearly everybody has experience with or some tie to, whether it be, you know, directly or indirectly, but it is something that more people go through than you think. So I really felt like this was some uncharted territory to put the spotlight on. So the video is set kind of vaguely late 1800s, early 1900s in New Orleans. Follows a little girl who is passing away to some unknown illness, and it essentially follows the chapters of grief of the father character. And that's kind of what the monsters are. So for instance, the tricycle man is time and mortality. The very grotesque priest is, I guess, corrupt faith. So both the priest and the bicycle guy were both played by an absolute angel of a guy named Maverick Wales Winters, who is a local drag artist in town. You good? Cool. Maverick's a trooper. This is our actor for today. Right. Got a turtle vibe going on. Yeah. Good stuff. Good shit. Alright, cool. A little break, walk. And I just felt so bad for Maverick because he had such a good attitude despite, you know, taking the brunt of things costume-wise with all these crazy masks and prosthetics that we just caked him with. I really thought we were gonna snuff him out. We're gonna start right there.
I'm worried that he's gonna conk his head on that.
So we have Maverick over here. He has been relieved of his duties. Once everybody's watching this, you'll know that he was a alien priest.
No, not an alien.
Un padre del demonios. And also, he was Bicycle Man.
He was like the oversized fucking jigsaw puppet from Saw.
That's what I was thinking.
This was him. So after everybody sees this, this is him without all the getup. How was that experience? It was, be honestly, not Grant's right here. It's okay.
No, it was fun. I mean, at least maybe it was earlier, I almost threw up. And then all that slobber came out when I laughed real hard. It filled with air and all.
Oh no.
Breathe.
Oh, about the fuck. So are those, is that fake nails and gaff tape?
Yeah. The nails wouldn't stay on, so we had to finally just wrap it off. I kind of want to keep it, but no.
Anything? You want to? That's a wrap on day.
That is a wrap on day 1. Maverick did a freaking awesome job.
I exist. I really do exist.
Freaky as shit.
Person. You have feelings, everyone.
The stilt creature is anger and aggression. So the stilt creature was one of the only main monsters actually not played by Maverick, but instead was undertaken by yours truly.
That's how babies are born right there. Coming out. Coming out. Stretch the butthole.
Oh God, Jesus Christ has left the conversation.
Just put that down, Maverick. Yeah. You turn it around. What you want to?
Oh man, that is a freaky concoction right there.
It took me about 3 months to build that thing with my dad, which was fun, but there just could not have been a sketchier apparatus to operate in. You'll see that the shoes are actually bolted directly into the hardware, so the feet literally become an extension of yourself.
God, man, these things suck. Clean up afterwards.
Meanwhile, all your weight is being held up by your forearms and your biceps, and you kind of feel like a nightmarish Bowser from Mario. That big old shell on the back, which is attached to a t-shirt that you wear. And in the mask, you'll see it's actually on the top of my head. So my face is facing down, and you know, with all the garb and whatnot in the final shots, my whole vision is completely obstructed. It's literally just the floor that I'm seeing. It would have been a big insurance liability if something happened to Maverick, but I'd rather sacrifice my body for the art than his.
Got it. Let me know if you want to let me go. I'll hold on. Talk about 6 feet apart.
And the Black Flood is more or less the flooding of conscience. I mean, even the nurses and the doctor are very scary because I think even people who are helping out in the situation can seem like the enemy. So I designed all the character costumes myself, but they were largely constructed at what is now one of my favorite places in New Orleans, which is Southern Costume Company downtown. And I mean, you know, they've done absolutely everything from films and TV shows rolling through town, plus obviously, you know, anything and everything Mardi Gras. But what specifically makes that place so dope is that you go in there and it actually used to be a Ford vehicle assembly factory from back in like the 20s or 30s. So there's this big ass shaft elevator in there that used to haul cars up and down all day. And you go way in the back and there is still graffiti left from workers from the 20s, 30s, and all the way up to the 50s, I think. But it's just super kind of surreal seeing a slice of life from back in the day. They were some really good folks for helping us get all our ducks in a row with all that. Now, hands down, my favorite prop that we had for the video was this Marilyn Manson-esque Elvis swivel mic stand that we had welded some bicycle handlebars onto. And at the very top, we had a 1940s carbon ring microphone. But the absolute cherry on top of the whole thing was this match strip I had attached to the side of it to light cigarettes off of, which, I don't know, I was kind of proud of. I felt like it was extremely important to do something big with this video, even if the song itself isn't anything spectacular. Because on social media, there's just so much traffic, especially with musical content. You know, music is so accessible to people, which is a great thing, but because of that, there's so much noise. In a very animalistic way, I feel like artists are chomping at the heel to stand out. I feel like we don't really have a choice these days but to do something to top the last post that somebody sees, you know, given that you only occupy mere seconds of somebody's attention on social media. So it was that kind of thinking that really spearheaded this endeavor, even though at times it was definitely more of a bigger bite than I could probably chew. It was that line of thinking along with, you know, well, touring is extremely expensive and whoever can pull it off, absolutely good for them, but it takes some serious dollars. It's never a guarantee for how many people are even gonna be at that show, no matter how much promo you do. You know, you can guesstimate with some numbers, but even if you have a great show, unfortunately, it becomes a flash in the pan. You'll have a great show one night and then people are back to their regular lives the next day. It can be a very expensive gamble. And so I was thinking like, well, as fun as that is, at this point, these dollars that we'd put here, let's put it into having something visually tangible that you can go back to. And hopefully it brings people out to shows. So we'll see. This video took about 4.5 years, which is absolutely ridiculous. The main cost of it definitely came from the production, but it was an absolute abysmal amount that nobody in their early 20s should be spending. Compiling everything together, props, set, make sure everyone's getting taken care of at the end of the day. Each shoot was an entire 6 to 8 months worth of earning for it, just doing whatever odd jobs I could possibly find. I've been a pizza boy 3 times, a coffee barista, lawnmower, babysitter, I mean, you name it, everything under the sun. However much I could to pull off that scene, as soon as we shot it, straight back to ground zero. And then it was another 6 to 8 months to do it all over again. Definitely we're not as fortunate to have any type of sugar daddy for the band or sugar mama or anything like that. So it is something I'm proud to say that everything you see was achieved through working my ass off for 4 years. So hopefully we got a pretty good result from that. If I had just pocketed all of that, I could have probably been moved out of my mom's house at this point and be paying rent in a decent apartment downtown. But lo and behold. I am a big Urban Explorer fan, so that's definitely what made the video fun. Finding abandoned locations for this project was very budget friendly and very DIY. The setting of it is a real place. It's a hospital called Charity Hospital, and unfortunately it was just absolutely wiped out in Hurricane Katrina, and it's been abandoned since. I think these days Tulane University is doing some renovations, turning it into apartment complexes or something weird like that. Allegedly, it has had a bunch of medical records still there, a bunch of equipment, and people kept saying human remains, like, you know, organs and whatnot in jars. I don't know about that. Even though we wanted to film in Charity, the place was way too inconvenient to bring a whole crew of actors and cameramen in there. So, and plus they had like round the clock guards that were pretty strict, I heard, so that wasn't happening. And we even tried getting exteriors of the hospital, but there were just too many modern day things in the shots that would have been a pain in the ass to try to edit out. So we ended up making it an animation sequence later on down the road, which worked out very beautifully. We ended up finding a abandoned nursing home, which is on the west bank of New Orleans. And that place was wild. You go in there and it is creepy as shit. We actually ran into some workers doing a little bit of landscaping, and they kept reporting to us that, yeah, there's a lot of bad juju in this place. You know, if you go too far in, I mean, it just gets completely pitch black and you start to hear voices. Not only is it dark, gutter punks have occupied this whole spot. You know, they just ask you for a beer and a cigarette and walk around with their you know, pit bulls and Rottweilers everywhere. When we went to go explore, we came across this gutter punk sanctuary out there where they literally had a big old family-sized mattress, a chair and a microwave, and I mean, they set up these whole camps, which are amazing. There was all these weird sculptures around, full of like a bunch of fishing wire and coat hangers, and you'd see like an animal spine on it and a bunch of other little bones. There was this big old twisty tea tower about this high, full of twisty tea cans, and all these odd paintings that looked like spells and incantations, kind of gibberish. I was talking with this one lady who was very prevalent in the gutter punk community named Mama when I used to write for a magazine in New Orleans. And she was saying that these sculptures are constructed when the artist is on drugs. Essentially, it's what they're seeing at the time of their trip. They immediately sculpt it. It was very wild, for sure. So it was crazy. Every time it was sweeping over an inch worth of dust and debris, and you know, you had black mold, asbestos, rusty nails everywhere, and shit that had fallen from the roof and whatnot.
Ah! Fucking move! You got insurance, Rat?
So you kind of
Ben, are you okay?
And I remember I had to go into the hospital room and completely redo the place. I was ripping out all of these lighting fixtures and destroying these closets and just getting all these plastic bottles left by people over time, and literally just put it all into the bathroom and just shut the door and hope that nobody opened that door. It was quite a mess, for sure. I'm scared what my lungs have been subjected to. I don't want to go to a doctor and have them tell me. Because the nursing home was in such shit shape, it was always a very scary gamble. Every time we went back, each part of the nursing home that we wanted to use was just a little bit more dilapidated than the last time we left it. We shot the monsters and then we went to go shoot the hospital room. And then we came back for another hallway sequence, and the whole wall separating the hospital room and the hallway was completely just torn down. We'd show up the morning of shooting and we wouldn't even be able to really tell if we were gonna have a place to shoot at. So it was on a prayer. The city started to catch on that we were coming in there and messing around. Eventually they put up weatherboards, and so I had to go there like a day before the shoot and reverse screw out these heavy ass boards. Because technically, you know, it's a historic site. We had to go in there with a lot of tact and very carefully.
Karate 101.
Action movie class.
Dude, all right, easy access.
They finally did put a round-the-clock guard on site, and I actually had to camp out at the park next to the nursing home and record the guard schedule. And so we would come in and do our load-in whenever they changed the guard. Saying that's where the private detective skills kind of came into play. It's incredibly cool because the folks that we pulled for makeup, actors, and set designing all came from a very popular and totally badass haunted house attraction in New Orleans called NOLA Nightmare, which was founded by none other than Phil Anselmo of Pantera, which is just really, really cool as a Pantera fan. And I never met the guy, but apparently he's cool. Hopefully someday this video makes it in front of his face. Hey man, we got your people. Check it out. He might not give a shit at all, but likely. So that place is just awesome. Anybody who's watching this, absolutely check it out. Now, I really need to give thanks and praise to our spooky doctor, Spencer, who worked as an EMT during the day, so pretty often he'd pull double duty as our set mom. What role are you at the haunt?
Performance manager. Okay, cool. So you manage all the actors that come in and all that?
All of them. Hiring, makeup.
Like in the corner, and I'd be
You have the exact date?
scary little
August
daughter
13th.
August
around
13th.
Joe.
Friday.
So you did work at the house?
Yes.
Yeah, I asked you that earlier. You said no.
What? I thought you meant like now.
16 and up now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. House of Shock was free for all. You want your 3-month-old coming? Put him in a sling. Let's go.
Okay.
That's gonna come on your head. Don't stand under this, please. I'm off today. These are little glow sticks that I brought that are clearly not working very well.
The graffiti that we had done for Angels was done by an artist by the name of Preacher, and nobody knows his actual name. Bro just goes by Preacher. He's very mysterious. His stuff is everywhere, all over town. But this guy is one of the most talented graffiti artists that you will ever see. He actually designed this shirt right here. I pulled this from New Orleans last night for this video. I love it. And he did the cherub head behind me as well. But he did these skeleton babies on the right side of the big band shot and the cherub on the left side, as well as the lettering "She Remembers" on the back. And it was funny because the very last part of this video was an animation sequence that was kind of inconvenient and very last minute because we used this great actress named Ava for the little girl. And she was just an absolute trooper. She was there for hours on end, just sitting in this bed. No complaints from her at all.
Here is Ava Lee, biggest trooper. How old are you, Ava?
Oh, 10.
Only 10?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you feel about that shoot today? How'd it go?
At first I was excited, and then at the end I was like so relieved because it was over and stuff. Because I really wanted to go home.
At least you're happy that you got your goldfish and Dr. Pepper, right? I mean, can't go wrong.
Yeah.
All right, well, hey, awesome job today. Super proud.
But, you know, because it took so long in between shots, by the time we were ready to film the next sequence with her, which was a flashback sequence, 2 years had passed. And 2 years for a kid is a lot. By the time we revisited that idea, this kid was just She was like playing rugby or soccer or something. It was not the same little girl. So we were like, okay, well, it'd be kind of awkward to put her on a swing and have the father push her, and For the animation sequence, we ended up outsourcing to this phenomenal animation school called GOBELINS out of Paris, France. They're wildly professional. They work with actual productions and not early 20-somethings on their first amateur music video. So I had to bug a lot of people to find somebody who unfortunately picked the short straw to work with us, and that was this guy by the name of HOU-HOU, who was an amazing guy. He pulled some artists that I never even got the chance to meet, but they were super game for the project. I really, really wanted to go for an old school Disney style of animation, just for the throwback of it. Because the classic Disney style isn't really something that's done super often, we're kind of running out of people to capture that idea. So they actually ended up reaching out to the father of one of the artists on the team, who's this older guy, and he actually did work on old school Disney cartoons back in the day. So he knew how to get this done. He didn't even work on a digital platform anymore. He literally at some point in the process got an actual drawing pad and did the whole frame by frame sketch, and you put it together and it's stop motion. And I just thought that was amazing. And the end product is just, it's really, really beautiful. There's so many details from the water moving and sunlight glares. I mean, it's just like old school Disney. The actual location of the flashback is a real place called Audubon Park, which is right across from Loyola University in New Orleans on St. Charles. And it's a very beautiful park, but the animators were so talented. I showed them some reference pictures and they got every detail down exactly how it showed. And so they just did an absolutely great job. There is a lot of lore behind the music video for Where Angels Fear to Tread, for better or worse. But one of my favorite stories is the drummer that you see in the video is a guy by the name of ZEHRIN Sims. We had no idea who that dude was until the day of filming, because our initial drummer that we had, he was on the bridge on Lake Pontchartrain right outside New Orleans, and he got in a car wreck. We were literally decorating the chapel for the next day's shoot when we got that news. It just put us in this complete oh fuck sort of state. We were just like, oh man, we're totally screwed. We had no idea what to do. So just absolutely shooting in the dark. We turned to Preacher and a friend of his he had, and we're just like, guys, by any chance in hell, would y'all know anybody who could learn this song in a night and come film for the next 2 days? A few phone calls later, boom, got a guy. ZEHRIN, total bro for that. So he did. He went home and learned the song to the best he could, came in totally in uniform with the vibe and killed it. What's funny though is his sequence at the very end of the video where he's trashing the drums in the back and leaving before the video ends. That was him legitimately leaving because he had a gig to get to. He was like, guys, I have to leave at 4 or 5 o'clock to make it to this jazz gig across town, just letting y'all know. And so rolled up 4 or 5 o'clock and he was like, I really gotta go. And we were like, oh, okay, well, let's make this as dramatic as possible. So we were just like, trash the drums and you can just leave. And so when he leaves off screen in that one shot, that is him peacing out for the day. It's just, bye, ZEHRIN. He just kept going. I could not have asked for a better crew for this project. From start to finish, looking back on it, it was truly what I consider a miracle of sorts, with as long as it took that it finally just even happened. Because from the get-go, it was like, okay, well, we need somebody for this, and then somebody would very happily say, oh, I know a guy for this. And everybody showed up every single day just with such a good attitude and great disposition, and everybody was just so helpful and warm and loving. I mean, they were some of the best people that you'll ever meet. I could not have asked for a better group of folks to work with, and we are all extremely, what was the beginning of the sentence? I could not express gratitude. I myself am extremely proud of this project, as we all are as well. If
that line from the top, I am extremely proud.
As I'm sure, as we are as well, as we all are as well. Oh my God. As is the rest of, as we is. After 4.5 years of making this a reality, it would mean the world to us if you could take a couple minutes to check out the video. Let me do that one more time.
All right.
Just now that I know what to say. I am extremely proud of this project and what we were able to accomplish, as is the rest of our amazing cast and crew. And out of the 4.5 years it took to make this become a reality, it would mean the absolute world to us if all of y'all could take just a couple of minutes to go check it out everywhere now on YouTube. Thank you. Let me do it one more time.